We're call to order here, and the proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Can you all see the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Alo.
Here.
Mr. Amendola. Mr. Amendola. Maybe.
Hold on. Let me pull this up for Fred here. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Fred.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Mr. Crown.
Here. Present.
Mr. Lavasser.
Here.
Ms. Perry.
Here.
Mr. Saba.
Here.
Mayor Bloom.
Here.
Solicitor, Mr. Corbel.
Here.
Engineer, Mr. Minsterman.
Here.
I am here. Public Works Director will not be here. You have a quorum. President.
Thank you, Manager. May I have the approval of the bills list for May 11th, 2020?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose? Approval of the bills list. Approval of the minutes dated April 27th, 2020.
So move. Seconded.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All that oppose? All right. Approval of the minutes. Moving forward to citizen comments. Please note that all public comments will be held at the beginning of the meeting due to the online meeting format. At this time, citizens may address the Borough Council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Brad, you've got the
There's
room.
8 to 10. Yeah, there's 8 attendees in here. To anybody who's on the side, anyone out there, there's a button that allows you to raise your hand. If you guys could push that button and let us know that you have, somebody just did, and then I lost them. Can you try it again? Mary. Okay, Mary, you know the drill. State your name and address for the record, please. Go ahead.
Mary Luxbacher, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, 71 Dinsmore Avenue. Okay, I see that some of the motion will be to suspend the Crafton swimming pool for 2020 season. And basically, I'm speaking as member of the rec board. And what we wanted to possibly see done, since we did receive a grant for the new liner being put in, not to wait to fall then, and to start that work as quickly as possible and really get done what we need to get done at the swimming pool in the summer, to utilize the time in the good weather. Hopefully we'll have good weather. And the other thing, the question is in terms of the park, to see, you know, if we can get that surface put in, and then the equipment that the rec committee bought installed as quickly as possible, so that once the parks reopen, we will, you know, be at full speed. And then we had also raised some money from the doggy swim in the house tour. And if we could possibly, I know Russ and I had started to talk about some needs that we were hoping to, we had about $5,000, what we could do to spend that money maybe prior to the actual surface being put in, so that everything was done. And then that was like the layering on the cake. And one of the things we had proposed was possibly a shield that would cover the where the slide is, because over the years we've gotten complaints that it gets really hot there. That or another piece of equipment in the main park. And also in Noble Park, we had wanted to replace one of the I thought we had bought two of the little springy things where the kids would bounce on them. One of them has been broken for a long time, and we wanted that to be replaced. Basically, one of the things I'm asking is to look at the parks as part of our infrastructure. I don't feel that we have really invested in our parks monetarily over the years. Past couple years, we had a giant study done, I'm going to guess approximately 10 years ago. And a lot of those guidelines, nothing was really done with it. And I know that that's something you were talking about last time, possibly, spending the money to get another park study. And one of my concerns is spending all that money and then kind of doing nothing again. It's a lot of time in that. So basically just really can we start investing in our parks, looking at them as infrastructure, just the way we look at the other parts of the borough, like the streets and the sewers and the curbs and all that sort of thing. And because these are the things that people see. We have a lot of people that may not be able to go on vacation this year and really can't, this is going to be their staycation. They're going to be here in Crafton. What can we as a borough offer them safely? And, let's open up when we're able to open up the rec areas. And even the passive walking trails that we have really need attention, mulching, some weed control, things like that. And they're highly used already, but we really need to invest in those things. Those are things people are using every day, and sometimes they're slightly unsafe. So that's basically what I wanted, and we on the rec board would really like to be involved in some of the upcoming things, and what can we do, because it's going to get hot here, and, what can we do when people really want some things to do? As you know, I've been in charge of the mini golf for the last couple years. What can we do to improve that area with minimal amounts of money, but to do, some things we can do cheaply but nicely, and actually utilize that, because we can control things just the way they opened up the regular golf. We can control things very well with that. And that's all. I just basically want to give a shout out. And is there any way, if other pools locally open, is there a way Crafton can possibly unite with them, and maybe we could get a discount on prices or something? So I'm not sure. I know quite a few of the different polls. Everybody was kind of voting within the next 2 days to open or not open. Russ may know a little bit more about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And we will address your concerns as we approach the motion. The manager has some updates, and there's some information that came out to us through a few organizations, and we'll touch base during the discussion section on the grant that we applied for to do just what you're recommending. So we'll move forward. Next attendee.
Yeah, Sharon Gatens. Sharon, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Go
My
ahead.
name is Sharon Gayton, 60 South Grandview Avenue.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening. Thank you for your time. Mary, I loved all of your suggestions and recommendations. I would just like to share that obviously safety first goes without saying. I'm respectfully requesting that the Borough Council consider tabling the vote just until we know a little bit more about the state of the nation. Having said that, I do know my husband and I are on the rec board for the executive board for the Crafton Crocodiles as league liaisons. And I know the other neighboring pools were just kind of waiting to see what other facilities we're going to do. And Crafton Pool and Crafton Borough have always been considered a leader in the leagues in terms of summer recreation. So I think, we have the opportunity to set a nice tone saying, May's a little early right now, this part of May. Let's wait and see what happens. Some suggestions I have that you may want to consider that we could technically be on call in terms of we could put guidelines in place that only a certain number of people could be in the facility to allow for social distancing. As a pass holder, you could pay general admission up to the cost of your pool pass, individual or family, as it applies. And then once you reach that pool pass cost, there would be no cost to those pass holders. We could brainstorm for the best ways to keep track. For example, we could put numbers around the border of the current pass, and then the cashier would just put an X over that number as the patron enters. Obviously, I know that's a little more than what we've done in the past, but I think everyone would be respective of whatever guidelines we would put in place. We'd work on a family pass system. I'd be willing to help with that, just because we know everyone in the family doesn't attend together. We certainly don't want to jeopardize friends or loved ones. We could figure out quadrants and ways to section off the beach. Again, I do want to go on record. I do believe in safety first, but if there is going to be some sort of opening, I think these are ways that maybe you could possibly consider to help utilize our facility. We would also maybe recommend certain exit and entrance areas into the pool. If you go to the wave pool, you can't get out and or exit the pool in certain areas for safety. Obviously, that's because of the waves and just as a preventative measure for injuries. But of course, ours could go for the COVID guidelines to maintain that social distancing. And I do recognize, it's a hard thing to do in a public facility, but these are just some ideas that if we are going to consider, or if opening the pool is an option, I think we could have some positive suggestions.
Thank you, Ms. Gadens. All right, Brad, next attendee comment.
So that's
Anybody
it.
else?
I don't think anyone else has raised their hand. So as long as this council is okay with, making a little exception here or there since of the format, if somebody else does, maybe we could take them at the end of the meeting to make sure that everybody gets heard. So with that, I would suggest we could probably move forward.
Okay, so moving forward with the president's report, we've been meeting every Monday and Thursday as a council with our emergency management coordinator, Mark Sumter from the police department, and the mayor to discuss public safety and to discuss the response to COVID-19. I just want to make sure that that's addressed. We have a bunch of things on the agenda. The manager has been working very diligently with administration and public works. So I'm gonna move forward with the rest of the agenda. I'm gonna move forward to Mayor Bloom.
Yes, good evening. Just got a couple quick things here. The Crafton Rotary is sponsoring another food collection drive to benefit several food pantries in the area at 3 locations throughout the borough on Saturday, May 30th from 9 a.m. to noon. Locations are the First Baptist Church lot on Oregon and Steuben, the Dollar General lot at Bradford and Noble, and the Giant Eagle down in the shopping center. This is for non-perishable foods, and any and all donations will be greatly appreciated. Item number 2 that I have is that on Thursday, May 14th at 1 p.m., the Crafton teachers are going to hit the streets. This is something they wanted to do early during this pandemic, but got canceled. So on the 14th, on Thursday, 1 o'clock, the teachers are going to parade, and Chief Sumter will be doing the information up to that point and working with the teachers to get a parade route. And it's, as was seen all through over the country, requesting that social distancing be adhered to, and the teachers will come by and wave and honk and see the kids before the end of the school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Moving forward to the engineer's report, Mr. Minsterman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Just checking in, the report was submitted and all the items that that I'd like to for council to see are on the engineer's report. I will bring up that South Grandview, the Grow project, it's about a $500,000 project with an 85% match through the Alcoasand Grow project. It was awarded, and construction's anticipated to start in June. So a pre-construction meeting is being scheduled now, and I just wanted to let you know that that work is going to be undertaken soon. The other item is the 2019 paving program, trying to wrap that up. As we mentioned, that Mealy, who was the awarded contractor, is was putting us first on the list when the asphalt plants are open and ready for distributing asphalt, that they would come to the community. They are looking to come. We just got word today as early as tomorrow. So we are trying to work that out to make that happen. It's last minute notice, but we didn't want to tell them not to come unless there are any objections related to that. Basically, just having to, do some milling and paving. I think there are 2 streets and an alley. The street names escape me right now. In case, Russ, I know Alberta was trying to get a meeting today with Rob just to walk the streets and make sure that, since it's been over the winter, make sure we're on the same page as far as what is getting paved and the scope of those services. So that's really it. Everything else is in the report. No changes. It's up to date. The storm sewer separation projects are all proceeding well. The letters of interest for the new Grow project request have been made. That was toward the end of April. And now we'll wait to hear on those. And ultimately, the applications for the projects that are pre-approved will go in June. I think it's the end of June that they're due, along with mostly 60% design on the projects that we're submitting this year. So any questions, especially on that paving program? Any heartburn with starting work tomorrow?
I just have a question. So that grant for Grandview, was that part of the last batch of the Grow grants from last year, or?
I think it was 2 batches ago, actually.
Okay. So we're receiving roughly $425,000 from Alcoasand?
Let me pull that exact number up, but it is over 400,000. Yes. Let's see. So we have 466,000 is their match.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, the bids came in at actually 438,000. But they'll match 85% of the cost that we spend, up to 466,000.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, my reservation with the road program starting is I just want to make sure that the surface temps are right. One of the reasons why we postponed paving in November was the temps. So we just want to make sure that meets the specification. So I'm sure you guys will keep an eye on it and have an inspector out there.
For sure. And just so you know, the temperature for appropriate paving for PennDOT is 40 degrees and rising. So as long as the paving is occurring in 40 degrees and the surface temperature is at least 40 degrees, they will wait until those temperatures are achieved. But remember, we'll be milling first. So there'll be a lot of work prior to the paving. So the paving hopefully will begin on Wednesday, where we have 60-degree high and should easily make that that temperature. But certainly, if the roads are paved and they don't get them finished on Wednesday and it starts to rain Thursday or the temperature drops, then they'll stop and wait for the temperature to resume.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and that's all she wrote for this evening?
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Solicitor Corbel.
Good evening, everyone. There are two ordinances on the agenda tonight for consideration. One is a amendment to the pension plan to create a drop pension option for the police. This was agreed to in the collective bargaining agreement, and this is really just housekeeping in order to make that official and allow any officer that would qualify to elect that pension. In addition, there is another ordinance advertised for consideration tonight that would regulate the placement of 5G cell phone technology in the borough's rights-of-way. And then thirdly, there is a resolution that would, is the borough saying that it intends to adopt a zoning ordinance that would regulate 5G cell phone technology outside of the borough's rights-of-way. And for cell phone towers, 5G towers that are higher than 50 feet, they will remain conditional uses in the C2 zoning district. That's exactly how you treat traditional cell towers. I know that the Planning Commission had some input, and we've incorporated that into both ordinances. Both ordinances were commented upon by Verizon, as they are the entity that stands ready to come to the borough to install these devices. And they had some comments, most of which we accepted, but not all. So those are, I'm happy to answer questions now, or probably more appropriately later during the motion process. Other than that, I've been busy off and on with issues that arise day to day with Manager McKibben and others. And that's all I have, unless there's questions.
That's it. Thank you. All right. Moving forward to the manager's report.
Good evening, everybody. Let me first just address Mary's comments, please. Yes, getting the bid liner out and getting the surfaces out to bid ASAP is a top priority. Regrettably, we can't access that grant yet since they're not back to work, but I hope, and we have a resolution scheduled later that addresses one of their concerns, and I hope we can address or access that grant immediately and get that, as well as quite a few other projects in the parks and in the pool together this summer. I've been down there and I see what the improvements need to be made, and that is a priority for me. I just want to assure her of that. Excuse me. Some of the stuff is going to be addressed on the action items, but just so everybody knows, the inspection services are back in operation. So some of the real estate transactions, et cetera, can go through a lot more smoothly than they have been, for sure. There is going to be an advertisement put out to sell the fire truck. I'm working with Chief Crown on that. We should have that out shortly. See what comes back, and hopefully get that under agreement and sold so that we can move on and get the new truck in the fall. And a lot of projects that were put off last year are coming to fruition right now. Melee is coming out Wednesday. They walked the streets with Rob today. We have handicap ramps being put in by Felino throughout the ones that were not completed in 2019. And you know, it's been a long time coming. They've been put on hold, so they're raring to go, and we're willing to have them. So we'll move on those as quickly as we can. And the rest is going to be probably discussed at the motions parts of this meeting. So that's my report for tonight.
Thank you, Manager McKibben. With that, we're going to move forward with the business agenda. Under administration, a motion to suspend opening the Crafton swimming pool for the 2020 season due to the concerns of the health and welfare of the patrons and staffing during this COVID-19 pandemic.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Seconded.
Second.
Okay. All right, discussion? All right, I'm going to move forward just to show everybody what we're looking at from one of the leaders in the state on this item. We received this information from the recreation group in Pennsylvania. It's the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society. They have a number of banner organizations, including DCNR, who funds a lot of our grants. This is the red, yellow, and green phased approach that they're going to be taking with regards to our recreational facilities. As you can see here, under the as we move into the yellow phase, beaches and marinas have some restrictions. Their beaches are closed. Locker rooms, showers, they're closed. Pools, indoor and outdoor, closed. Splash pads, aquatic structures, closed. Again, outdoor recreation, athletics, closed. Childcare, closed. Golf, open with touchless golf guidelines and physical distancing restrictions. Outdoor entertainment venues, closed. Playgrounds closed. Restrooms outdoor open with daily sanitation and form of signage required. Skate parks closed. Summer camps closed. Trails open with 6 to 15 feet. Physical distancing. Indoor recreation, community senior centers closed. Gymnasiums, fitness centers closed. Meeting, multi-purpose rooms closed. Museums, galleries, studios closed. Restrooms indoor, open with physical distancing and daily sanitation, informative signage required. Community gardens open with appropriate physical distancing, assigned 2-hour work window, mask and gloves for all, no sharing tools. Open farmers markets, open with vendors a minimum of 10 feet apart and patrons observing physical distancing, mask and gloves for all. One customer, one family at a time. Large gatherings closed. So I'm going to just back up to the slide that's most important. Even as we move into the green phase, which I believe it's going to be a while, there are quite a bit of limitations on the pool. So with regards to opening up the pool this summer, councils discussed this at length on our COVID-19 meetings. We've been pushing for an official statement from the county, but Manager McKibben has been leading the charge with the managers group, and there's been a concerted effort in that to get everybody on the same page, because there's just a need to ensure that we're all moving in the same direction. So with that, I think it's pretty clear where we're coming from. Going back to what Mary was saying and what the manager just stated, we're going to use this opportunity to improve the facilities for the next season, and hopefully with all the other improvements, as some of the social distancing criteria loosen for our parks that are outside of the pool, that we will be able to enjoy the fruits of the public works labor to improve those facilities. So I really appreciate both sides of the argument to come to this meeting this evening to voice your opinions and make your case. But I think it's in the best interest of the community that we move forward with this schema that's been provided by the Pennsylvania Recreation Park Society until we hear otherwise from the state health department. But I'm pretty certain that we're going to leave the pool closed for the season to make the improvements and just leverage this time.
Mr. President, I have a quick question. So I know one of the things that was asked was in regards to neighboring communities. And if Mr. McKibben can actually touch on that, because I know he's been working with other communities on guiding us with a decision.
I know what the managers believe. What ultimately is going to be voted on by each respective council, I really have no idea at this point, and I don't think they do as well.
We do know that Dormont has said
Dormont has closed their facility for the year. Depending on the vote here, we would be, I guess, the second one in the area. Again, many managers managers have a concern that if the decision is made to open a pool, how do you implement it under the CDC guidelines and do it safely and keep your people safe and your employees and your young lifeguards? And do you have a concession stand? How do you have one? How do you open up facilities to get dressed and undressed? The implementation would be very, very difficult. And that's the concern of many managers in the area. I can say that.
Manager McKibben, can I ask one more question to address Ms. Gayton's question about timing? And that's something that we've been talking about in our meetings as well, is what it would take and why we're considering this motion tonight, as we've discussed in the past, because of all the things would have to be underway now or sooner to be able to open, or to even consider opening later.
I think, yes, I will, thanks. I think logistically, to delay the opening would be very, very difficult. It's tough to say, well, you're hired, but I don't know when you're going to start. So just wait. The lifeguards need training. I have no direction from the county health department at this time and they oversee the pools. To get it ready, again, we don't have a date that we can possibly open. So I don't know what to get it ready for. There's just so many logistical issues. How do you come and buy pool passes when our municipal building is closed? Just small things when you just work it through. That'd be very difficult to have a delayed start for almost everyone involved.
To Mr. McKibben, let's say, for sake of argument, that we did open the pool. How would we as a community try to enforce social distancing? Who would be responsible for doing that? Would we have the lifeguards doing that and then taking off the time from watching the pool? Would we have volunteers? How does that look? I mean, just a hypothetical.
Well, looks like it would be my responsibility. And then whoever the pool manager is, their responsibility. And then imparting those rules and regulations on the guards themselves. I don't know any other way that we would be able to do that.
How would we maintain temperature checks at the pool for lifeguards, staff? Would we require folks to be wearing masks? How would we, for example, follow the CDC guidelines and check for temperatures? Who would be responsible for that?
Again, I assume it would be me. But have I actually sat down and thought about it? I have not, unless I have to tell you the truth, because I'm really not sure how I would do it.
Right, so somebody from the Borough building would have to go down and take temperatures of folks? How does that work?
I have no idea, sir. I haven't thought it through.
Well, I think I'm asking a leading question here just to try to illustrate that. I think it's really difficult to imagine a scenario in which we would have the logistical capabilities as a community with one manager and 2 assistants to that manager, 1 public works director, 6 public works employees, and 10 officers. They have things that they need to be doing to as part of their day-to-day operations, and we can't have, how are we going to enforce social distancing? How are we going to enforce temperatures? How are we going to make sure people are washing their hands? How are we going to make sure that
all those come with extra costs as well? So, I mean, and this was not an easy decision, but I mean, like what we're dealing with everything now, making the best of a bad decision. I know, and I thank you, Russ, for all the hard work you're putting in. I know you've been very proactive coming into this town and seeing, hey, our parks need attention, our pool needs attention. Let's take advantage of a bad situation and turn it into a positive. So that way once we reach the end of the tunnel, we're going to have an upgraded recreation in the borough.
Yeah, I'd like to put a finer point on that. Most of those grants and most of the spade work was done in previous years, and grants awarded last year. So these are not last minute or things that have been decided upon in the last few months.
Correct. All right. And Solicitor Corbel, with regards to liability for the borough, can you speak to that?
Sure, other than to confirm what everybody's fear is, which is if folks are able to contract this virus because they attended your pool, etc., there is the potential for litigants to come after the borough. I think if council is headed down the path of making this difficult decision, I think you will end up being a leader on this based on what I'm hearing from other municipalities around the region.
All right.
Hey, Mr. President, I'm ready to call the vote. Is there any, can we move on?
I'll second that, Brad, if that's what you're doing.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right. Motion passes. All right, Manager McKibben, you have a lot of work ahead of you with Public Works Director Kazarowski.
Thank you.
Moving forward to motion to execute a contract amendment with Cargill Incorporated that waives the requirement for the borough to receive 80% of the road salt purchase requirement for July 1st, 2020, and extends the same to December 31st, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any questions? This is Russ, this is just run-of-the-mill stuff, right?
Yeah, this is just the fact that none of the communities have used anywhere near the salt that they said they were going to. So Cargill is keeping the salt at their facility and not forcing us to buy it now and put it somewhere where we don't have room to. And that's true not just for Crafton, but everybody that was in on this bid.
Okay. Thank you. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right. Motion passes. Motion to concur with the joint O&M CCTV contract coordinated by SHACOG and awarded to Robinson Pipe Cleaning in amount of $139,476.50. Crafton Borough share will be $34,903, and Gateway Engineers has recommended approval.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any questions? Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All that oppose? All right. Thank you. And Mary, if you're out there still, as you can see, we're moving forward with the investment in those recreational assets. Motion to approve the final payment of $23,793.29 to A. Folino Construction Incorporated for the completion of Phase 5 punch list items for Clearview Avenue Road Reconstruction Project, and as recommended by Gateway Engineers.
So moved.
Seconded.
I might mention that you skipped a motion, I think.
Yes, you did.
I was gonna mention it.
Which one did I?
The one right above it.
Resolutions, 2020-4 and 2020-5.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Let's finish this one.
Yeah. All right.
So I actually have a question about this. So this is not including the ADA ramps that they're working on. This is just the punch list.
Yeah, for Clearview Phase 5, we held the payment to deal with some manhole issues and some seeding, grading, tree issues. And the manager, Public Works Director, and Shade Tree Commissioner Susan Muka did a very nice job working with them to bring it to resolution. So thank you all for your help on that. So, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm sorry. Who had? I know Ms. Perry made the motion. Who did the second? I apologize.
I seconded.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. All right. Now I'll jump back up. My eyes skipped on me. I apologize, everybody. Motion to approve Resolution 2020-04 and Resolution 2020-05 relating to accepting the terms and conditions of the grants being awarded by the PADCNR titled Crafton Borough Trail Planning and Crafton Borough Parks Master Plan, respectively.
So moved.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Just a point of clarification. This is for the grant application. It isn't that it's been awarded yet,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
That is correct.
Correct.
So this is a requirement to apply for the grant to say that we would accept the terms if it was. Thank you.
That is
Correct.
exactly right.
Correct. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose? All right. Motion passes. Now I'm going to go down here. I wish we had, I need to put a little digital check boxes. All right. Motion to approve ordinance number 16661, amending chapter 33 of the Crafton Borough Code of Ordinances, Pensions and Retirements to add a deferred retirement option program, also known as the DROP pension, retroactively effective January 1st, 2020.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any questions, comments? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right. Motion passes. Motion to approve ordinance 1662, amending chapter 193 of the Crafton Code of Ordinances, Streets and Sidewalks to regulate wireless communication facilities in the public right of way.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
I just have a point of clarification. So this is just to, it allows the borough to have more control and oversight of the towers. Is that correct?
Yes, both ordinances do that. The zoning ordinance takes a little bit longer than a normal ordinance. This will regulate the design, the construction, the general conditions and locations of 5G cell sites within the borough's right of way.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All that oppose? Hearing none. Motion passes. Motion to adopt Resolution 2020-06, resolving that a future meeting of the Borough Council will consider an amendment to Chapter 225, the Borough Code of Ordinances zoning, as amended to regulate wireless communication facilities located outside the public right-of-way and wireless communication facilities taller than 50 feet, and to invoke the pending ordinance doctrine.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All that oppose? All right. Motion passes. Motion to authorize the manager to advertise for a position of an in-house borough engineer after required qualifications are reviewed and approved by council.
So moved. So seconded.
Any questions?
Can we get some clarification about this, please?
Yeah, Manager McKibben, do you want to speak?
Yeah, I will actually. No offense to Mr. Minsterman, and we have discussed this, so he's more than aware of it, but for looking for somebody to help and oversee and give better direction to different projects throughout the borough, I believe, and I thought it would be helpful that we hire somebody with the expertise to oversee these projects with a PE stamp, see what's out there, see what the salary levels may be, and bring some of these engineering projects in-house to be overseen on a daily basis. It's been done by more than a few communities, and then they still use the bigger firms for very large projects because they're way beyond the scope of what one person can do. But it's just a move to to help oversee, again, to help oversee the numerous smaller projects that we may be utilizing the big boys for, and we may not need to be doing that.
Okay, and just one follow-up question. If I recall, this is something that our Public Works Director has recommended in the past couple of years that I'm aware of.
That is correct. I have spoken to Rob, and he says I've been asking for that for a while. So it's yes, you are correct, Ms. Perry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. President, can I make a comment?
Yes.
I'll say that I have worked with municipalities that have in-house engineers and helped them establish the position through interviews to even developing a scope, and then, you know, sort of identifying some of the pitfalls. I've seen some of these programs not go well, and some of them go very well. So I can offer whatever assistance you'd want from me as it relates to, you know, hopefully helping pass on some of the arrows that municipalities have already taken for you to avoid, and make this this program as successful as possible. It definitely can work, and it does work. Like I said, we have a few municipalities that have in-house engineers, and they can be an asset. So let me know if you need any help with that.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
I
man.
actually have a question. So with having somebody in-house, would this help with like issues? I know last year we ran into a lot of issues with, like, for instance, melee, with having these projects, and because the manager can only do so much and Public Works can only do so much. So would this person, in addition with the engineering, but they would make sure that all the projects are getting done and streamlined, and we're not having conversations at the end of the year of, hey, why wasn't this road paved? And it's because somebody forgot to email or call that person and stay on top of them to get their work done.
Yeah. So the in-house engineer would essentially serve as an assistant to the manager and to help us facilitate all the project management requirements that we are going to be requiring as we move forward with these very large projects. And this person will provide the expertise to council and to the manager and to Public Works Director and to anybody else that needs the help that's serving in a capacity of council. So I think this is a very positive step forward. It's going to really help hopefully streamline some of the process and provide us the quality control that we need with this, you know, several $1 million worth of work that we're going to be moving forward with. And I'm hopeful this person provides a lot of value to the manager and his role, because I will say Russ is very hands-on, and the reality is once we get the shovels in the ground, Russ is still going to have to fulfill his full-time duties as our manager. And I'm hopeful that the engineer, if we do go down the path of actually finding the correct candidate, will help with the economics and be that intermediary between Gateway, the contractors, and you know, the council and the manager.
I'm ready to call the vote, Mr. President.
Yep. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 All that oppose? All right. Happy hunting, manager. Motion passes. All right. Motion to readopt a concurring resolution 2020-06 with the Redevelopment Authority of Allegheny County designating Russell J. McKibben as the authorized official to file and execute all documents with same.
So moved.
Move.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All that oppose? All right. Motion passes. All right. I'm going to move forward to the library email. Can I do that real quick, Manager McKibben?
Yes, please.
Okay. The manager and the staff received an email from the library board. I snipped it and put it in here. I'm just going to read it aloud before we move on to the community announcements. Russ, Charisma, and Catherine, as Allegheny County prepares to move into the yellow phase next week, I wanted to send an update on the state of the library to be shared with the Borough Council, as well as to address any questions your office may get from the public. As you probably know, we have been closed to the public since March 14th. In that time, we have continued to serve Crafton from our homes by harnessing the power of social media for more than ever before to share a different library resource, community resource, activity, and antidote nearly every day of the week on our Facebook and Instagram. We have been promoting our large countywide digital collection which can be accessed remotely and includes ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, movies, TV shows, music, and more. To support teachers and students who are now navigating distance learning, we have partnered with the Andrew Carnegie Free Library in Carnegie to provide information about our countywide digital resources to the Carlton School District through their email newsletter. Additionally, all Allegheny County libraries have agreed to issue temporary library cards to applicants under the age of 18, granting instant access to e-materials and e-resources through the end of 2020 and providing further access to students. Recognizing that the lack of internet access is a reality for many Crafton residents, we have encouraged our community to use our Wi-Fi as it extends beyond the library's walls into the parking lot, where users can remain in their vehicles or at safe distance from one another while getting the connection they need. Unfortunately, as we move into the yellow phase, our building will remain closed to the public until further notice. We have yet to receive any official yellow phase reopening guidance from the Office of Commonwealth Libraries beyond a clearance for a staff-only return to buildings provided they are equipped with the proper PPE. Though more direction is expected to be released soon, when I know, you will know. Relatedly, the leadership of the Allegheny County Library Association and Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh are working together to provide the opportunity for each county library to acquire the necessary PPE for staff to return safely in future public-facing service. It's no secret that the PPE market is extremely volatile right now, so we're hoping that this endeavor proves fruitful. I want to sincerely thank the Borough for the support they provide to our library, as it has allowed us to continue the valuable services for Crafton through this difficult time. I hope that each of you, as well as your families, are safe and healthy. We look forward to seeing you all when it is safe again to do so. Alyssa, the library director. So I thought that was very nice and well written, and I think they're doing a wonderful job through this difficult time. So thank you for composing that and letting us know the path forward with the library. So with that, I'm going to move forward with the community announcements.
Excuse me,
Yep.
Mr. President, did we have any community members? Brad had said something about
There's
offering them
two
an
people with,
opportunity.
yeah, there's two people with their hands up. I figure with consent from the council, we're cool with it. It's just 3 people. So do we want to go ahead and do that now? All right, sounds like we do. Sharon, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. No, I definitely want to share that I agree 100% in terms of safety and following all guidelines by medical professionals. So, of course, that goes without saying. I had just wanted to know if it would have been possible to just table at a later date to see if any of the phases would have changed. There are some, I think some obviously safety precautions that we could have done. And in the past, I do know the pool had opened later, but I do recognize the severity and seriousness of COVID-19. So I do want to go on record. Of course, I agree with all that. So my request was to delay it to wait and see what the medical professionals have said. But I am happy to hear that progress is being made for beautification and pool improvements. I think, that's a good use of that time while the pool unfortunately would be closed.
Okay, thank you. This person is in here as Ginger Heights. Ginger, if you could state, if that's your correct, as long as I'm saying your name correctly, state your name and your address for the record, please. Go ahead.
Hi there, my name is Ginger Heights. I am at 25 McMunn Avenue, and I am also on the board of the Crafton Crocodiles as the vice president. So I am just piggybacking off of Sharon, and as everyone else is saying, since we're focusing on beautification of the pool and updates at the pool this summer, would we as the board have access to get into the pool? There are things that we could also update still this summer. There's we have the boards along the wall there that we were hoping to update this summer, completely fix all of that, and then fix the board itself, and then update our leaderboards. We also have a closet at the pool that's full of crocodile stuff that we clean out every summer. And I was just wondering, even with the pool being closed, if we would still be able to access that thing as an organization and access our materials there and update them as well.
All right, I'll have you coordinate with Russ on that.
Yes.
Okay.
And last but not least, Mary Luxbacher, you know the drill. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I did feel that I know many of the children, or I couldn't call them children, many of the young adults who had applied for jobs at the pool. I do think we should give them the courtesy of notifying them that the pool will not be open in the concession stand. Many of them have waited and waited, and I know I've gotten some, what do you know, Mayor, what do you know? And I'm like, so far, I don't know much, but it's not looking good. But I did, many of these kids did hold out for summer jobs, hoping that the pool would open. And I just think we should give them that courtesy so that they can immediately start looking for another job. I was wondering about are we hiring any youth for like Rob's crew this year?
Manager McKibben, you want to address?
Yeah, I'll address both. Mary, that letter has already been written. It was waiting for tonight's vote before it goes out. Moreover, we will be emailing them and snail mailing them to notify them, because I agree with you 100%. We need to do that. It's the right thing to do. There are going to be a few summer hires in the road department. We're looking at that right now, and depending on what projects we get into, there may be more than before, or there may not. I'm not sure. Yes, the answer is yes. We're going to hire a few.
All right, and Russ, could you speak to the audience about the consultant that you brought on board to help us address public safety and the training at Public Works?
Yeah, I brought together a safety expert who works with a lot of companies in the area to come in to address Public Works and me about the safety concerns of working within this environment. He has since then been utilized by a few other municipalities throughout the area after I told him what I had done. Moreover, he's an expert in advising how we bring these facilities back online, which may be even more important than the decision to open and close. But how do we utilize the library safely? How do we utilize the community room safely once a decision is made that they're open? And I'll probably be bringing him back in to advise on that as well. None of us, I don't think very few managers can pretend that we are experts in pandemics and how to come back. But I believe it's when we can bring somebody in that has that kind of expertise, it's very important to utilize it.
Thank you, Russ. All right, I'm going to move forward with the community announcements. Was there anything else? All right, hearing none, I'm going to move forward with the community announcements. The community center and the borough parks will remain closed until further notice, and all activities and bookings canceled indefinitely. The borough office will remain closed to the public. However, staff is available during normal business hours and can be reached via telephone or email. There's a drop box in the rear of the building for any written correspondence. Any changes to this action will be posted on the borough website and Savvy Citizen. Next announcement, this is important. All polling places have been combined to the American Legion located at the corner of Cornell and North Linwood Avenue for the June 2nd primary elections. Also, absentee ballots can be obtained online at election/absentee.
I just want to point out that you don't have to be an absentee to request a ballot. The Pennsylvania law has changed, so you can still be absentee, but you can just request a ballot in general. And I did so, my wife did so, and we voted, and we did so in the kitchen. It was great.
Thanks, Brad. All right, senior dinner originally scheduled for May 16th is canceled. The annual shred sponsored by Representative Deasy will be rescheduled in August or September. The Memorial Day parade has been canceled and the borough offices will be closed on May 25th. The council meeting scheduled for the same day was moved to Wednesday, May 27th at the normal time. All right, so I'm gonna move to adjourn unless I hear from somebody else on council. If you
Going once, going twice. Sold.
All right,
Adjournment.
adjourned. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good night.
Yep, thank you. All right, Brad.
Stop recording. Hold on,
Meeting's over.
Yeah, meeting's over. Let me
Coletta
stop the video.
bailed.
Okay, yeah. Are we supposed to stay on?
I think that went well, everybody. Thank you for attending.